What's up, everyone? All right, well, here we are, middle of the week, Wednesday, and today was just like yesterday. My first trade in the red, lost 2,500. And you know what? The first trade, it was a pretty risky setup for my first trade. I was trying to do a bounce off of support for a curl back up through VWAP. So the trade was below VWAP. MACD was, of course, against the position because the moving averages were negative. They were moving down, and it wasn't on the gap scanner. But of course, this was a stock that IPO'd yesterday, STBX. So there were, I think, a lot of eyes on it, but we just didn't end up getting a good trade. And so that first one, down 2,500. Now, the problem was we didn't have, I didn't see any really good setups between 7 and 8 and 9. So coming up to 9:05, 9:10, I was sort of getting antsy. I was like, uh-oh, you know, either I break the ice or I'm not gonna trade today. So I just kind of was like, all right, this looks like a pretty good setup. I'm in near support, punched it, and then we got like an 80-cent flush as it went lower. So that was a disappointing way to start the day. I was able to recoup those losses on drug. So drug up 80%, a stock that was hot earlier in the week, as you probably saw. It was doing this sort of like really big green day and then gave it all back. Really big green day, then gave it all back. So today was the third green day. And I was able to capture profits on it, but I don't know that I would have traded it had I not just gotten kicked in the teeth on the first trade. Because where I got in it, you know, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a stab. But that was also a bounce off VWAP, not my favorite setup. So it was kind of a risky trade on that one as well. MACD wasn't in favor of the trade, you know, so it's sort of just like across the board, that wasn't really that great, although it did move higher. Then I had GCT, which was a bit of a dead cat bounce from the move earlier in the week. Made a little bit on that. There was AKLI, which was similar to STBX. That was not a great trade. Barely got out for a small winner of $100, but could have been a loss. And then there was SPRC, which was a gapper today, but was $1.30, lower price, thickly traded. So the reality is today, there really wasn't anything that was A quality. So I guess I, throw the question out there, would it have been better to not trade at all? Because the thing is, days like today, this is where you get those paper cuts. And this is where you start to run into the death by 1,000 cuts. It's just cut after cut after cut after cut. And it's like, well, nothing was really A quality. The market, overall market, the S&P, this morning at least was testing the lows of this pullback. So it was weak. It probably made all the sense in the world not to trade. And yet I find it so difficult not to trade. I sit down here and I want to trade every single day. And that gets me into situations like today and yesterday where I take B quality setups, I go red, and then I'm taking B and C quality setups to try to rally out of the hole. And I'm grateful I got out of the hole, but on other days, I could end up closing at max loss. So I think I have to be really careful tomorrow and Friday as we finish this week that if there really isn't anything that looks good, that maybe to avoid the risk of more paper cuts, just to sit on the sidelines. So I don't know, curious to hear what your thoughts are, but that's kind of where I'm at right now as I'm finishing my third choppy day out of the last 4 trading sessions. Because remember, Friday I went down $6,000 before finishing in the green. So out of the last 4 days, Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, excluding Monday, because Monday was okay, but 3 out of the last 4 days have been pretty choppy. So I think this is the time to be a little more defensive, reduce share size, scale back, slow down, and wait for the next stock that really is clean. All right, I hope you guys enjoy the recap. Reminder, as always, my results are not typical, so make sure you take it slow and practice a simulator before you put real money on the line. And I'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning for the morning show. Thanks as always for tuning in. What's up, everyone? All right, well, middle of the week here and kind of another tricky day, same as yesterday. First trade of the day, went red, $2,500, or I'm down 2,800 on STBX. So it's very similar to yesterday. Basically, first trade, I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to be spending the morning trying to dig myself out of the hole. So the first trade, for what it's worth, was not a terrific setup. I was trying to take a bottom bounce on STBX As it started to curl up right here, I jumped in it, and then on this candle, it flushed like 80 cents a share, which was kind of a bigger drop than I expected. The MACD was against the trade. It was below VWAP. So really, I probably shouldn't have taken it. I think at this point, because it was like, I don't know, 9:05, I was starting to get a little antsy about the fact that I hadn't taken any trades yet. So I was sort of losing patience. I was like, man, nothing is moving. Well, this one, it's a curl off the low after yesterday's move. There's a good chance we'll get a curl. And I guess we did a little bit later, but whatever. So that was sort of an unnecessary loss. Then I switched my focus to drug, which was our leading gapper this morning. So this one, it made sense to focus on it. I got a nice trade on it off of, let's see, it was right here. I bought, I had an order at 198 to try to buy a false break off of VWAP or a bounce off VWAP. That order didn't fill, but I did fill at 201, and we got to pop back up to 216, which was, you know, it wasn't bad. I mean, that was pretty good. I got another trade at the open as it bounced here for the curl back up higher. So I got a couple trades on this one. You know, not, again, huge winners, but that basically got me out of the hole. And I was down 200 going into the open and got a couple other trades. So, well, and by the way, so on drug, this one had sort of this daily history of big green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle. And notice the volume profile. High volume on the green days, no volume on the red days. But it kept giving back like the entire move. So it really is hard to trust it. And even though it's moved a bit higher here, I just don't really trust it. So that one's drug. STBX, you know, yesterday was the IPO. It was kind of crazy. Sold off down to 11, had some big bounces. This was a bounce here from 10 or from 15 up to 30. So, you know, 100% bounce. I thought it would be good for a little bit more of a bounce, but it really didn't give us much today. AKLI, I tried this one for a bounce as well. I got in at about 560 with a stop at 557 off of the double bottom. It did curl up, as you can see here, to a high of 610, but not before first breaking down. Only made 167 on it. Not a great trade. SPRC, this was on our gap scanner this morning, so traded this one. It was very thickly traded. Got a trade on it right here from 30 up to 36. Small gains on it. It was just not easy to trade. It broke again a little bit later here up to a high of 55, but just nothing exciting. GCT, I got a couple trades on this, but I was too chicken to trade it with big size. Traded it small size. We had the first trade was at 28 right up here. Got to move up to 30. Got back in on the break of 30. Got to move up to 31. And then rejected. You could have taken another trade right here. I didn't take that one. That one went up to 33, but pulling back a bit. So, you know, I think the problem today was that it was sort of hard to figure out what was obvious. The overall market continues, you know, we hit new lows today of this little pullback. We did bounce up a little bit now, but the market's a little weak. We're back below the 200. We're in kind of a precarious position here. We've got some data coming out later this week that'll probably have an effect on the overall market. So we may end up more likely testing the 406 level versus 418, but we'll see. So yesterday wasn't great for me because I started red, had to rally back, but finished green. Today, same story. First trade was red. Yesterday, you know, and in fact, yesterday was kind of similar. I didn't have any good trades between 8 and 9. Took the first trade. I think it was like a 9:15. It was a sympathy momentum stock. So, you know, the first trades haven't been as good. And I think a little bit of that has been related to not having anything else that looks good. So I've gotten kind of to a point where I'm like, okay, let's just break the ice. But then I keep breaking the ice with a bad trade. So, because I'm not really being patient enough. If I was more patient, I mean, it's actually possible I wouldn't have taken any trades yesterday or any trades today. And in fact, that would have been better than being red. And both days I went, down. It was 1,700 yesterday and 2,500 today. So I don't know. It's a little choppy. But green on the week thanks to 7,000 on Monday. And then yesterday was basically, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 bucks. Today I'm sitting at 1,000. But, fees and commissions are going to cut this, by a third at least. So probably net only 600 today, maybe 700. But yeah, just kind of slow right now. I think waiting for the next strong momentum stock, and also waiting to see if we get a little support from the overall market. Right now we're not getting it, but hopefully, we'll get some more support from the overall market soon. Another false breakout on drug. Just feels like a lot of traps today, a lot of false breakouts. So, MACD, there were a couple areas here. We had some nice, good setups. A bunch of the trades I took today really didn't have all of the confirmation that I look for. But if I had waited for all of that confirmation, I think I might not have taken any trades. So I guess 2,000 approximately, or 3,000 between yesterday and today trading B quality setups is good. But, on the other hand, both of these days I was in the red before rallying back and could have easily finished both of these days red, in which case I'd be probably thinking, gosh, it really wasn't worth it. So I hope that we have something better tomorrow on the gap scanner that's obvious, that, is just a nice clean momentum stock, but that might be too optimistic. So this whole week might end up being kind of a wash. And I think I just have to be careful tomorrow and mindful of the pattern that I've had these last 2 days of starting the day in the red. So I have to be more cautious tomorrow, and that may result in it being a no trade day if there's nothing that's really obvious. So anyways, that's my recap. It's a pretty short one, but that's where I'm going to finish the day. So reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results are not typical. Being able to be on the defense and keep it really tight and rally back from red to green is an important skill to learn, and it's not something that all beginner traders are going to be good at. It takes time. So pace yourself, practice in a simulator, and I'll see you back at it tomorrow morning for the morning show. All right, I'll see you then. I hope you really enjoyed that video, and make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 1 million subscribers this year, but we won't get there without your help. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button.